My husband's father got a DUI and my in-laws say it's our fault?
Well, it looks like you're gonna be going to jail for your in-laws now.
7 years ago, I began dating my now husband, Sam, when we were 16 years old. When I met his mom, Sue, things appeared to be great. Sue was a successful businesswoman and the life of the party, entertaining us with gossip. Looking back, it was extremely hurtful and over the top, bullying high school girls and starting hurtful rumors about nice neighbors who lived next door. By the way, this comes from obviously Amish, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. 2 years went by and things were still great. His parents would always take us out to dinner and bring me along on trips. They would go to Mexico for weeks at a time, and we now know they were going to get wasted and probably do other substances. The mom has an open painkiller prescription and hasn't had a serious procedure in years. They would give Sam a talk every time before they left. If anything were to happen to us, here's what would happen with the biz, the kids, etc. We were always told not to tell people they were gone, and we never really knew exactly why. These talks disturbed Sam, making him feel like something bad was going on. We were left to take care of their younger kids, as my husband is the oldest, but we didn't mind. We were teens in a nice house with no parental supervision. We drove the kids to sports practices, attended the games and performances, and did everything else a parent would do. My husband has been doing this since 14, yes, even driving. Wow. We, mostly Sam, also did back to school shopping for their kids for years, and we celebrated the youngest kid's birthday on the same day. They always managed to be gone for his birthday for longer than I had been around and for years to come. They never missed Sam's birthday until Sam and I got married and spent his birthday out of town. Don't worry, Sue made sure to let me know they were devastated over it. Things were great. We would watch their kids and they would take us all on trips and out to dinners, providing financial opportunities. That is, until I broke up with Sam. We talked about marriage, but I wasn't sure I wanted to be with him because it was a messy teen relationship. It was a clean break. We ultimately agreed it would be best to date other people and maybe revisit dating each other in the future. So we broke up and started going on other dates. Again, we lived practically next door. Everything was fine until I started dating the guy with the nice car. Suddenly, Sue was sending her husband to walk the dog, even though that was something he never did. He would just stare at me and this guy when he'd come to pick me up. Fast forward, Sam and I got back together. Everything turned out well and we've been happily married, but not without some work. I assumed everything would be okay. I thought Sue wanted the best for us. Immediately, there was trouble. Sue alerted Sam not to get back together with me. She had heard from someone that I had been engaged to the guy with the nice car. That wasn't true. When it was suggested that she was lying, she left the house and wouldn't come back until people were on her side. After that, I noticed Sam would only bring me around when his parents were asleep. I also noticed his siblings starting to turn on me, blaming their friend problems on Sam and me getting back together. They're like, Mercury is in retrograde and Sam and OP are back together, so my friend group is not working out.
Yeah, your relationship shifts the entire global relationship axis.
How did they even work that out?
Yeah. Everyone's dynamic is in shambles because OP's back with Sam.
I'm assuming it was Sue working on them to make me feel unwelcome. Months later, when our paths finally crossed, she looked at me like I was gum on her shoe. She didn't speak to me for 6 months. I was in agony over this because I didn't know what I had done to deserve all this. Surely I had done something. One day, she randomly came around acting as if nothing had happened, like we were the best of friends. Her shunning me still hasn't been mentioned to this day. She began giving me gifts and taking me on trips again. All was well, until Sam and I got into an argument. He confided in his mom and instantly knew it was the last time he ever would. Yeah, that was a mistake. That was a mistake.
Yeah, don't run to your mom to be like, wait, this is my relationship fight. We had a fight.
Yeah. Oh, she texted my mom, Sam and I were 19 at this point, and told her to make sure we stayed apart for exactly 2 weeks. Not sure why 2 weeks. My mom, a people pleaser like me, kindly declined, to which Sue responded, make it happen. Now I was mad. She was ordering my mom around like one of her assistants and trying to split us up. If being confused about the unexplained silence for 6 months and lying about me wasn't enough, this was. I didn't want to spend much time around Sue, and Sam respected that. When we did spend time around her, we were met by what I now know were passive-aggressive comments like, you don't want to be on Sue's bad side. He. Is this what Sue's saying? The gifts I would receive were also passive-aggressive. After finding a pregnancy test in Sam's truck, which had been wrapped up and tucked away, Sue bought me maternity outfits. I then began noticing weird occurrences. Sue had 2 or 3 female assistants, all way hot and single. Sometimes I would drive around with Sam and work from my laptop while he worked. He worked for the family business. Sue would call demanding one of the assistants needed help with something. Sue never knew I was with Sam and heard everything she would say. We'd show up to her house where just the assistant would be waiting. It was always something stupid. One time, one of the assistants said, "I don't know why your mom told you I needed help moving the 6-pound Christmas tree. LOL. There was a lot of weirdness around Sue and her assistants. It's nothing I can prove, but I feel like she was trying to get her beloved assistants and Sam together. She always talked about these girls so highly around me. Through all of this, we continued to be parents, which gave me some good points with Sue because they invited us on one of the Mexico trips with a friend Sue had reconnected with. Long story short, while in Mexico, her friend and I talked. Sue had just stopped talking to this friend cold turkey for 5 years and then suddenly wanted to reconnect. She had no idea why. I then realized this was the woman Sue claimed was a crazy bipolar stalker. Only I wasn't getting those vibes at all. I still wonder if I should say something to the friend. Shortly after, this friend became the key to plentiful financial opportunities for Sue's daughter. Weird timing. So Sue only gets back together or lets people back into her life when she needs them.
Sue's just a little schemer.
Sue the schemer.
Scheming Sue.
Time passed, and Sue and I tolerated each other. Many interactions were filled with passive aggressiveness, self and other demeaning comments, and her playing the victim in every story. I'll admit I hated Sue, but never stood up to her because of my fear of conflict. I've noticed the rest of the family is similar in this way, especially Sue's husband. They have endured a lot of screaming and verbal abuse, usually passed off as, "Oh, I'm just a sarcastic person," if excused at all. The way I retaliated and coped with my confusion was just by not coming around often. Fast forward, we got engaged up at their family cabin. When we came back to tell Sue, she kind of acknowledged it, saying, "Well, you guys will probably have cute kids," and then went back to changing the sheets on the bed. When we invited them to celebrate, they declined, saying they were too tired. Several minutes later, there were pictures posted of me on her story telling her followers how excited she was to get another daughter. So wait, so they're telling you guys one thing or acting one way towards you guys and then being all excited online?
Yeah, the public face is like, "We're so happy." And
Yeah,
the
but
private
they're
face is like, "I don't
care. I don't care about your babies." The next few months of wedding prep were HE double hockey sticks. I think she was on better behavior, but I wasn't by much. I don't even want to get into it all. One thing she was particularly pissed about was that we were getting our own place and not moving into their basement as we originally planned. No live-in babysitters. Again, very passive-aggressive. "I would never spend that much money on such a small apartment. You guys will probably just move in with us at some point." Don't move in with them. Whatever you do, don't move in with them. The wedding finally was over and we went on our honeymoon, which was paid and planned for by Sam's parents. I'll admit it was very nice. We got back just in time to watch the remaining kid so they could go to their family cabin several hours away and stay for a few weeks.
2 weeks?
They just left what do you mean the remaining kid? They're like, "I don't know, the leftover one can stay with you."
Yeah, you
What?
take the leftover, make sure he eats.
I don't know. He's like 4 years old. He's probably fine.
I don't think he really needs water. I just think he needs a little food.
He
every
just,
now
yeah,
and then.
sometimes we'll give him a pat on the back and he's set.
Very seldom.
Yeah.
Very
He's
seldom
kind of
do
like
we
a
give him a
cat,
pat on the
really.
back.
They didn't frequent Mexico as often because once the cabin was finished, I think that's where they would unwind substances and alcohol, usually leaving Sam with a lot of pieces to pick up with the business. He was most definitely not being paid enough to run it. We eventually told them we would no longer be parents. If you're not going to watch him, at least pick him up and drop him off at school. He declined. She had her assistants do it instead. More passive aggressiveness. I felt horrible only because now the younger sibling was all alone, left for weeks at a time with an assistant to check on him occasionally. Okay, fast forward again. About 6 months ago, I felt like I was going to explode over this. Honestly, over the years when all of these things were going on, I didn't really know what to think. I felt confused. Yes, Sue was doing all of these things, but I was taught to turn the other cheek and give people a break who had hard childhoods, etc., automatically making me the one in the wrong for not forgiving and not spending much time around her. My family only knew the extremely generous and funny personality of Sue, so when I confided in them, it always made me more confused. Was I seeing things? Was I overreacting? Was it all me? I finally lost it and said I wanted to go no contact because of how confused I was. Sam respected that. Within 2 weeks of no contact, something happened that I wasn't expecting. My love for art came back. 2 more weeks, my migraines reduced by 90%. Sue went kind of quiet, and at business meetings, according to Sam, was more pleasant. I was starting to feel like maybe things would end up okay, and we could reconnect at some point with a strong set of boundaries. It all changed in an instant. A few months went by and it all came crashing down. Sam's dad got a DUI driving back from the family cabin. Around 1 a.m., Sam's phone started buzzing. It was Sue. She was hysterical. Her husband had been arrested after she sent him home from the cabin. She claimed she didn't know he was wasted.
I'm going to go ahead and say I doubt that.
She probably just didn't think he was maybe at a level, but like they go there for the express purpose of drinking and doing substances.
Yeah, they're just like, sorry, I forgot what sobriety actually was.
I don't know what the baseline is.
Yeah, I thought we were all good. I was wrong.
Yeah. Sam tried to calm her down and she proceeded to say, do you want to know why he did this? Do you really want to know? It's because he's really, really sad. Further context revealed she was talking about him being sad about our no contact. It felt like she was blaming us. And guess what? I felt extremely guilty. No. I was close to ending the no contact. Thankfully, Sam is the voice of reason in my life and urged me not to. I eventually realized that these things had happened before. A few years back, Sam's dad got sad, then wasted, and started driving their car at over 100 through neighborhoods. They didn't get caught. Wow. But Sam had to physically restrain him. Oh my God. What was so eerie about the whole DUI situation was when Sue's sister, another voice of reason, got in touch with Sam. She was way more concerned about getting Sue help than the very person who just got a DUI. We still don't know why. Whatever it is, Sue's sister knows more than we do. She probably thought she got a foot in the door because after that, she went back to her old self. I think it's because Sam didn't defend us when she was basically blaming the DUI on us. He also made a point to be nicer to her after that. Neither of us saw a problem until we realized she was given an inch and took a mile. Sam immediately corrected himself in his behavior towards her, and now she's gone radio silent. In conclusion, reading over this, I'm more confident than ever Sue is a covert, self-absorbed person. I think this because she's very different in private than she is in public. She never asked me about my career and got weird when I would talk about it. There are a lot of people she's cut off. Her mother-in-law and father-in-law, her mom, and many, many others. All situations where I don't know what happened. I didn't do anything and they were just mean sort of things. She shunned me for an entire day when I joked about Sam and I moving away. She also tried to turn me against some of my family. She's recently been sending my parents nice texts and gifts, adding to their disapproval of our no contact situation. Oh, how I want to tell them everything. Even going as far as texting my mom on Christmas and not texting Sam. She loves to sabotage things, wanting to take down a bunch of cheerleaders' Instagrams when her daughter didn't make it on the team, wanting to ruin people's businesses that she had tiffs with. Her husband is extremely codependent on her. She admitted to trying to prod people into breaking down so they'd get arrested for something because they were an annoying neighbor. Whoa, she's just scheming. Scheme after scheme with this lady.
Sue the schemer, dude. She lives up to the name.
I mean, I'm sure there are many things that you could sue or get her arrested for.
Well, you need the evidence. That's
true.
The thing.
That is the problem. She has sworn us to secrecy on things that would jeopardize her self-image. Please share any thoughts or opinions. I want to know I'm making the right decision by going no contact, but it guts me seeing my husband spend less time with his family. If we were to reconnect at some point, would it be a big disaster? What do I do about my parents not really supporting me? Thanks for reading. And P.S. My mother-in-law and father-in-law are fighting his DUI in court, but I know for a fact he was wasted. Do I get involved? Given his past, I worry it could happen again and maybe he even hurt someone. And there is an update, but I think my opinion is don't get involved with any of this.
Yeah, remove yourself.
Remove yourself entirely from their life. I think OP is like, I don't know, like just this like idea that, oh, I feel bad because my husband isn't going to be able to have a relationship with his parents. He doesn't want one.
They're not really built for it. It didn't feel like.
Yeah, they parentified him since he was 14.
Yeah.
He does not want a relationship with his parents, and you pushing it is probably going to, make it worse. Because it seems like the only one who's pushing anything or any sort of involvement with his parents is you.
And you don't need to.
I don't need to. He doesn't want it.
And you don't need to get involved in the DUI process or
they
anything.
have
It's like
proof.
if you try to fight that, yeah, good luck fighting the breathalyzer, my guy.
I'm sorry. There's a breathalyzer. There's proof of him, probably driving, not only under the influence, probably driving recklessly.
And it just further, I think, exemplifies their perspective of just like, I don't know, this like weird self-absorbed entitlement of like, well, of course we can fight it and win because it's like, that's just who, we don't deserve that and I was fine. Like,
no, there's
dude, you were in the middle of a bender and you did a DUI.
There's literally no way that they can fight that, like, that they can disprove this in any way. So just you don't need they don't need more proof.
Imagine the next part of the story is like, well, they went to court and they actually got paid $25,000 for wrongful arrest.
Yeah. Hopefully not.
I don't think so though. I don't think so.
But yeah, no, I think you just stay out of it. Stay no contact. Don't get involved with them. Don't go see them. Don't do nothing. But there is an update. Long story short, my father-in-law, Parker, got a DUI, and my mother-in-law, Sue, blamed it on me going no contact, and subsequently Sam spending less time around them. I'm no contact. Sam interacts with mother-in-law professionally because he works for their family business, and still interacts with his dad normally. If you want to hear the full story on the DUI situation, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Anyway, yesterday my mother-in-law called my husband Sam from their family cabin. My mother-in-law and father-in-law used to go to Mexico a lot to get wasted and do other substances. We aren't sure what those substances are, but we know she has an open opioid prescription for years and abuses Xanax. Sue calls Sam. She was very clearly intoxicated, slurring her speech, and would circle back around to things she had already told him. Sam loses it. What the heck are you guys doing up there? If you guys drive home wasted again, I'm dragging you both to a facility. He goes on to also voice his concern over their decade-long habit of leaving the younger kids for weeks, Jim and Lucy. Sam's the oldest of three and took on the parental role for weeks at a time from 13 to 22. Once we are married, we said no more. Now there's just one 16-year-old at home, Jim. He's had it the worst for sure. I mean, like, if you guys were to do anything, again, should have been calling CPS.
Yeah, like
that should have been the thing
child's
that you do.
Being neglected. Call the authorities.
You should have called them years ago. I watched my mother-in-law and father-in-law miss his birthday for like 4 or 5 years in a row due to Mexico trips. Now he, Jim, claims not to mind them leaving for weeks at a time, saying, I have Becca, his girlfriend. I didn't hear the conversation directly, just from Sam. At some point, my mother-in-law said, I miss the way we used to talk. Sam, you mean you miss me being your therapist? You would discuss things with me you should have been discussing with your husband. I can attest to this. I've heard conversations in the past that were very inappropriate. Sue, what do I do if Jim is talking to weird people online? I need you to go find Lucy. She's out past curfew. I want you to drag her away in front of all of her friends to embarrass her for being out past curfew.
Oh, so you're just a terrible parent. That's cool.
Oh, you're so bad.
That's cool. Yeah, that's a great way. Yes, let's socially damage our child, and that'll teach them a lesson.
Yeah. We ended multiple dates early for the sake of punishing Lucy. The best part is Lucy never actually did anything wrong, always misunderstandings. Anyway, the conversation didn't end well. Sam was furious but wanted to make sure they weren't about to drive home wasted and called his dad, also at the cabin. The conversation went something like his dad asking Sam why he thought he was so superior to everyone else. This is now a running thing with both parents and both siblings. They think we are better than everyone else, mostly for Sam criticizing his parents' parenting. Sam backed down, no, apologizing for getting involved in parenting their kid. That's wild to be like, I'm so sorry. You're right. I'm parenting your kid. Because they made you parent their kid.
Exactly.
They left you alone at 14 to parent their kids.
I am the parent. You are the child.
When Sam inquired about the situation with Sue calling him while she was intoxicated, Parker chalked it up to her starting menopause. The craziest part is when Sam called me to give me the rundown, it sounded like he believed that. She's been calling him intoxicated and showing these exact behaviors for years. She only just started menopause. I'm sad because Parker has always been the more reasonable, level-headed one. I lost so much respect when he offered that excuse. Maybe he meant when she gets intoxicated, it's worse now because she's starting menopause. So Sam apologized and ended the conversation. I offered my opinion that yes, he shouldn't need to be involved with that stuff. He's already been doing it for years, but he doesn't need to apologize for being mad about it because it's pretty messed up. He's not going to change them anyway, so I feel like the best thing he can do is just be a friend to his younger brother and be there if he needs to talk about it. Okay, the day goes on. Sam didn't want to talk about the situation anymore, so we decided to have a peaceful rest of the day. All of a sudden, we're out grabbing some things at the store and he just shuts down. I can tell when something is wrong because he gets very cut and dry. I asked him if he wanted to talk about it, and he says, for now, all I need to know was that he got a text that pissed him off. He wanted to calm down and figure out what he was going to do about it before telling me. Because, Sam, you're going to be so pissed off about this. A few hours later, he finally told me, and I was definitely not happy. His family builds homes for a living, and they are building one for my cousin, the Smiths, right now. We obviously love them and are fairly close with them. Sue sent a text. Sue, tell Smiths they get a 2% price increase. Wait, your family friends get a 2% price increase? It was very clear that this was directly correlated to the conversations earlier that day. Okay, before we go any further, some background. Supposedly, they needed to do a price increase on their home a few weeks ago, but they figured out some way to make it disappear. I think mother-in-law and father-in-law were just going to make less on the house. I cautiously paid attention to see if this was a kind deed they were doing to make up for the past stuff. However, I was weary because they pretty much always manipulate and apologize through money, which they have loads to throw around. So they made it disappear to manipulate us into thinking they changed, and then made it reappear to manipulate us into knowing they haven't changed. What I think it's about, I think they want to ward us off from getting involved in their regular user time and child neglect. Maybe when Sam apologized, they knew they could make him feel even more sorry. I don't know. And you'll never be sorry when you listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search for Storytime. But there is a little bit left, and I am a little bit confused by that last part. It seems like OP and Sam have some close cousins who were, it's like originally they were kind of doing a favor for, and we're like, oh, we're gonna give you this discounted house or something. And then as punishment for Sam's behavior, Sue was like, we're actually doing an increase on the price now. That's my understanding of that.
It feels like they were like, well, maybe we'll just take a little bit of a loss. I don't know. It's just the constant theme of instead of just doing things themselves, they're like, you do it. When it's like they should be the ones to do it. It's their price increase. Mm-hmm. They're the ones laying it down.
I think they're just like,
they just want to make OP's husband be the bad guy.
Regardless of what they're doing, it seems like they're punishing OP's husband. That's like the main thing. But there is a little bit left of the story. My final thought is call CPS on them. Get this child away from them. In conclusion, I'm extremely mad and hurting for my cousins. Sam is the agent on their house, so he's not going to charge them for his service. That should cover most of the extra they were going to have to pay. Yeah, so it does seem like originally they were supposed to be getting a discount on this house, and now they're having to pay more. While this situation stinks, it made my decision to go no contact more clear. I have battled with it relentlessly and made Sam's decision to leave the family business easier. And after people read my post and offered insight, it was a huge game changer for my situation and helped me see more clearly. Again, if you have any input for me, I would greatly appreciate it. Anywhere you think Sam and I have been wrong, insight into mother-in-law and father-in-law's behavior, etc. Thank you and have a blessed day. And that was the end of that story.
Yeah, I mean, I think addiction probably informs a lot of
absolutely.
Behavior,
I mean, it seems like sometimes when you have those problems and stuff, it's like you want to hoard that money and spend it on that and stuff. And so there's probably also money things surrounding this deal, and then it's also trying to punish you, and yeah.
Not very high on the parent totem pole.
Nope. Probably the lowest on the parent totem pole.
Pretty low. Pretty low flying.
But that is the end of that story.